Okay, so on Tuesday you had kind of all this intro stuff, and it was just kind of a refresher in case we're not as familiar with some of the Canvas stuff, or we maybe forgotten it. So there were a couple things that you had to kind of do, like maybe if you wanted to change your display name in the user settings, you could do that. Add a profile picture, update these notification preferences so that you get notifications sent to your email or to a text message on your phone number. About announcements or grades and important things like that. There was a kind of a practice discussion. So if you did the discussion post, make sure you go back and check to make sure you reply to 2 people, because that's part of the grade for that one. And then there was a little bit about how to submit assignments, and then you had kind of 4 assignments. And I know it looks like a lot, but they were all pretty short because they were pretty easy stuff. This was really just to practice making sure that you guys know how to access and how to submit each of these different types of assignments, because we're going to see them pop up throughout the semester. So hopefully you got all of those done, because those 5 things, the discussion and the 4 assignments, they're going to count as like one whole grade of 100 points for Tuesday. So if you haven't done any of that, make sure you get that done. For today, the first thing I want to talk about is this important attendance information. So last semester, there was some confusion about like when you have to log in, like and all that kind of stuff. And so we had people that were getting absences because they weren't logging in correctly for attendance. So since we're starting over beginning of semester, I just wanted to like make it very clear. You have to log into Canvas on the day of your class. So like if you guys are 3rd period, so that's on the A day. So you have to log into Canvas for our class on A days to get counted present. If you logged in yesterday and then you don't log in today any at all, then you don't get counted present for today. If you forget to log in today, the whole entire day, and suddenly you remember all of a sudden at 1 o'clock this morning, 1 o'clock in the morning to log in, that's after midnight. That's after 11:59 p.m. And so that won't count for attendance. Okay. So you have to log in on the day for your class. So, period 1 through 4 on A days, period 7 through 10 on B days. And then as far as like when attendance is taken, I have to take attendance right at the end of our class period every day. So our class period ends at 12:45. So at about 12:40, that's usually when I'm posting it, like that last 5 minutes. So if you want to avoid your parents getting one of those automated calls where they're like, your student was absent from 3rd period on, January 7th, or I don't know, whatever they sound like. If you want to avoid your parents getting one of those phone calls, then you need to make sure you log in either earlier in the morning or during our actual class time, so it's before 12:40. Because if you're not here, if you're here in person, then obviously I know you're present. If you're here on the live call on Zoom, I know you're present. But if you don't do either one of those, if you're not here in person and you're not on the Zoom call, then I go check Canvas before I put the attendance in at 12:40. And if you have not logged into Canvas on that date, by that time, by 12:40, then you get marked absent. And that's when you're going to get that automated phone call, because they have that system set up so that 15 minutes after the class ends, so 15 minutes after 12:45 is 1 o'clock. So at around 1 o'clock, the system starts making automatic phone calls to anybody who's marked absent during that class period. And so that's how that system works. And so that's why you get those calls sometimes during the day, or your parents probably get the calls if you've been marked absent in a class, because they're trying to remind people like, hey, you didn't log in before the end of your class period. You need to make sure you log in before the end of the day so you get counted present for attendance. If you don't log in before the attendance is posted at 12:40 and you get one of those calls, all you got to do is go to Canvas and log in and kind of go click around on the pages so that it logs that you've been in. And if you do that before 3:15, then you'll get changed that day. I'll change it to present, because at the end of the day, after 3 o'clock, I go back between 3 and 3:15. I go back and I check all classes for the day. So anybody who was absent earlier, I go back and I double check in Canvas again to see have they logged in since I checked earlier at the end of class. So if you log in between, or before 3:15, then it'll get changed from absent to present. If you don't log in before 3:15, that's where we start to have some issues, because technically you have till 11:59 p.m. to log in, but I don't have to check attendance after 3:15 p.m. because that's the end of my contract workday. Okay, that's all the teachers. So what happens is that's why they have us check one more time before 3:15 and update it at the end of our school day, and then we have to check it again the next morning. Okay, so if you log in between 3:15 p.m. and 11:59 p.m. after school's over, technically, then I don't get to check it till the next morning. And when I do that, I have to use this thing called Canvas Analytics, and I have to go into each person individually and check their attendance. So it's very tedious because let's say there's like 5 people that were absent in this class, then tomorrow I have to go back and for each one of those 5 people, I have to individually go into their account to their analytics on Canvas and look to see if they logged in and did any activity yesterday or on the day before. So because of that, I would like very, very, very much appreciate if you guys all tried your best to log in before 3:15 so that I can make sure it's marked present on that day and I don't have to go back and check it the next day and waste a lot of time. Okay. Um, if you log in the morning or before class, then that's good. You don't have to worry about it. But some of us, I know, like, we tend to not log in until later in the day, some days, or whatever. So just try to log in earlier rather than later so that we avoid that. Um, and then the last thing that I put down here, it's this big capital red letters. We found out towards the end of last semester that if you are logging into Canvas only with the mobile app, that does not log Canvas Analytics, so it does not record activity for attendance. So because apparently some teachers had students who had like a whole bunch of absences, even though they'd been turning in work and doing stuff on Canvas. And when the teachers checked their analytics, there wasn't anything in there for on those days, even though they had turned in work on those days and things like that. So what they found out was that the students were logging in only through the mobile app. They were not logging in on like a Chromebook or a laptop on the actual website for Canvas. And that was the issue. So the mobile app, as you're going to see, if you haven't already watched the video, there's a tutorial video on the mobile app today. It has a lot of good things that can help you. Like if you quickly want to check your messages, or if you quickly want to check your grades, or submit something really quick that's, that you can do on your phone. It's good for some things, but for attendance, it doesn't really work. So if you want to make sure you're getting counted for attendance, make sure that you log in, on the Canvas website. So on a computer, on a laptop, on a Chromebook, not in that mobile app. Okay. Because I don't want you guys to get counted absent and then have to like make up hours just because of that. Okay, so after that, there's a few more tutorial videos for today about different features of Canvas. This one is actually kind of cool. It's the dashboard. So the dashboard, when you log in, that's always like that first page that you see where it lists all your different classes, and then you can click on one to go to that class. But if you're not aware, you can actually change what it looks like. You can change, instead of seeing the little icons for each class, you can change how it looks. And so depending on what's maybe going to help you the most to manage your work and to keep up with things, you might want to change it to one of the other views. Or even if you don't change it permanently, it's good to know what all the different things on the dashboard are, because there are things there that are supposed to be helpful to you to keep up with work. So in that tutorial video, they're going to talk about a lot of that. And then after you watch it, you can click over here on your dashboard. So I'm going to click on mine so y'all see what mine looks like. So I have configured my dashboard to be like most productive for me. And what that means is I have my 4 classes that I'm currently teaching this semester all up here at the top in the order that I want them. So because if you see, I have 13 published courses because I have stuff from like last semester there, and then there's some other past stuff that, or stuff that I'm not like the teacher of, I'm just in the course. But I have arranged it to where these classes, which are the 4 that I'm teaching that I'm going to probably spend the most time in, like making stuff, they're all here at the top, and I have them organized so that, I can see them all and I can click on them really easily. So, maybe you want to drag yours to where you have like your 8A classes, your periods 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 5, 6, 7, 8 after. Or maybe you have certain subjects that you need to prioritize, so you want to move them to the top. Okay. It's up to you, but all you have to do for that, that's really easy. You can just click and you can drag you can just drag them around and rearrange them. The other thing it's going to show you in that one is these 3 dots up here. If you click on it, this is where you find the other ways to view it. So card view is what it's on right now. That's the default, but you can change it to list view or recent activity. And the video goes over kind of what each one shows you. And so you can kind of decide if one of those maybe is going to work better for you than the card view, if you want to change it. And then they also go over, there's this to-do list over here. So you can see I have a lot of stuff on my to-do list. I have 33 things to grade here, 27 things to grade here, 23 grades here, I have a lot of stuff that I need to grade because I haven't graded any of the stuff from Tuesday yet. And then look, there's 16 more. If I keep going, look, I have all this stuff to grade for all my other classes too. So anyways, for you guys, this is where like your assignments would pop up for your different classes. And so that to-do list is good because it'll show you what you need to work on if you haven't submitted something. And then once you have submitted it, you can click the X and get rid of it off your to-do list. Okay. And I don't know about you guys, but like, I feel like when I mark stuff off of a list, it makes me feel accomplished, even if it was just a minor thing. Okay. And then it also has like upcoming things that are due. So like, for example, these are the things that are in some of the class I'm in. This is not, none of these are for our class. But then it says 3 more in the next week. So like, here's your Adobe Scan practice that you're doing. This is for your class. And then I have my IB classes doing the same practice assignment today too. So, and then there's a calendar, you can view it in the calendar view. So that video is gonna talk about all those different things. Because what I hope for you guys to get out of this, and I don't know, maybe you won't, but I hope that some of you guys that were maybe struggling a little bit last semester on like keeping up with your work or like managing your time, if you know about some of these features, like the setting up the notifications from Tuesday, using your Canvas inbox to communicate with your teacher, using that dashboard and the to-do list and the calendar, all that stuff. If you're aware of that stuff and you can set things up and get a little more familiar, that maybe it will help you to stay kind of on track a little bit more this semester if you were off a little bit last semester. So back to our modules. So that's the dashboard. Okay, so you can watch the little tutorial video, and then if you want to go adjust or kind of play with your dashboard and see what you can update, you can do that. The second thing is conversations/inbox. So this is how you kind of direct message. So if you send me a message in Canvas, it's called a conversation. You can send conversations to your teachers. You can send it to other students that are in your Canvas classes as well. And so it's over here when you click on this icon over here that says inbox, and the inbox takes you to your conversations. So this video goes over what are all the different parts in this inbox that you can use for conversations. So if I click on mine, you'll see that I have a whole bunch of conversations because I have a whole bunch of people that I've emailed in the past. Okay, and I haven't really cleaned my inbox out. And it'll go through how you can look at, there's different things, you can move things around. It'll go through how to start a conversation and send it, because it's kind of like sending an email. It'll go through how you can search for people to send the message to, and all that kind of stuff. All right, go back to our page. After you look at the conversations, the next part, I believe, is checking grades. So this is another thing that can help you to hopefully kind of stay on track a little bit better this semester if you had trouble, is keeping up with your grades. A lot of you guys, like, you'll message me or maybe other teachers or whoever, and you'll be like, what am I missing? Am I missing anything? What did I make on this? What's my grade? And you guys really, like, y'all can check all that all on your own. You don't really need to ask your teacher, okay? Unless there's a mistake or unless you think something's wrong. So in Canvas, you can view the grades for like your individual assignments. For your average though, you need to make sure you're checking self-serve. Okay, so you need to make sure you check student self-serve if you want to know like what's your current average. That's what goes on like report cards and progress reports. But if you want to know like what did you make on individual assignments, then you can check the grades in Canvas. The reason that you can't really use Canvas for your average is because sometimes like for me, your grades are weighted. And so the gradebook in self-serve is set up to weight the grades. And I have it set up that way in Canvas, but Canvas seems like it doesn't always do it correctly. And also, for example, like Tuesday, there was like 5 little mini assignments. Like you had the 4 assignments in the discussion board post. And I told you guys I was going to add them all up. I was going to count them as 1 grade. They were each 20 points, and that adds up to 100. So in the Canvas gradebook, it looks like there's 5 assignments, okay? But in our self-serve gradebook, there's just going to be 1 assignment, and it's going to be like day 1 practice. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but like day 1 Canvas practice or something, and it'll be 100 points. So obviously that's not going to look exactly the same. So average grades, check self-serve. But if you want to know if you're missing an individual assignment or if you need to redo an assignment because maybe you got a low grade on it, then this video goes over kind of how to check your grades and where to find them. It's right over here. I'm not going to click on it because mine looks really different than y'all's, because I actually have a grade book where I have all y'all's names. But when you click on yours, and it'll show you in the video, it'll list out your assignments, and it'll show you your grades, or if it's not been graded yet, it'll have a little icon to indicate that. And it'll also allow you to look at if there's feedback. So if I left any comments, like maybe I told you, hey, you need to go correct something, or if you want to resubmit, make sure you fix this. Okay. So those are good things to know, to look for those comments as well. All right. The last thing for Canvas today is the mobile app. So some of you guys are probably familiar with it, but maybe there are some things about it you don't know. So this video is going to go over the kind of features of the mobile app, because even though, you know, it's kind of not very good for attendance stuff, it is good for other things. Like I said, I use the app all the time. I have it on my phone. Sometimes it's easier for me to grade on the phone because I can grade really fast by like just typing on my screen for certain assignments, not all assignments. It's easier for me to check the email because if I don't have my computer open, if I look at my phone and somebody sent me something in my inbox, I can quickly reply to it. So there's a lot of good features to it. And so this will go through kind of all the different parts in the mobile app and how you would use it. Okay. The last thing is not Canvas related, but this is an app that you guys need to learn how to use, because we're going to be using this throughout this semester in order for you guys to submit assignments. So because this semester we're getting more into like what I like to think of as actual chemistry. I feel like first semester a lot of times is like the like pre-chemistry, because we're learning all the basics about like the atoms and the periodic table and all that stuff. But this semester we're actually going to start with chemical reactions, and then we actually start doing some math with chemistry, and kind of putting everything together as we go. And so because our topics this semester involve things that are either maybe require math, and so you have to show work for the problems, or it might be something that's multiple steps, and so you have to write out all the steps to show your work. It's going to require you to do stuff like write stuff by hand on paper. And there are some ways that you can kind of make it digitally, but it's really not the same as writing stuff out and showing your work on paper. Because if I make something that's like a drag and drop, I mean, you can match stuff up, but that's not the same as having you work it out and show me that you understand how to do the process on paper. And so this app, it's called Adobe Scan. It's a free app. It has an Apple and an Android version. So you can go to your app store, search for Adobe Scan, and the icon should look like this kind of blue tile with a white kind of fancy A on it for Adobe. And you want to download it to your phone. You can put it on an iPad too, but phone's probably easier. And then once you have it downloaded, you need to watch this tutorial video if you have not already. And this tutorial video, it walks you through exactly how to use the app. Because what you're going to do for your assignment today is you're going to kind of do like a practice run of using this Adobe Scan. So on the next thing, when I go to it, it's going to have an assignment where you're going to kind of write some problems on a couple pieces of paper. And then you're going to use this app to scan both of those pages into one file, one document, and upload it and submit it as a file upload like we did on Tuesday with the file upload. So make sure you watch this video because it does explain step by step how to do things. And it even tells you like you can adjust, once it scans, you can adjust the size if something got cut off or whatever, or you want to make it a little neater. It tells you how to save it, it tells you how to do multiple pages, and then it shows you can actually save it to Google Drive. You can save it in the app itself, but what's going to be probably easiest for you guys is once you have the PDF done and you save it, give it a name, then you want to share it to your Google Drive and put it in your folder that maybe you have for like our class. So maybe make yourself an advanced chemistry folder in your Google Drive if you don't have one already. And then you can put like all your scans into that file, and then you can use that to upload them to Canvas. Okay. So this is a lot easier than uploading photos, because sometimes like if you have photos and you have like 5 pages of something, you're going to have to upload 5 different photos. And that's a lot harder than just uploading one file. The other thing about it that makes it better is because it scans them as a PDF file and not as a photo. So usually it will somewhat adjust the lighting, or it'll make it easier for me to read than a photo would be. So once you've watched that tutorial video and downloaded the app, okay, your next thing is your assignment. And like I said, it's pretty easy. I just kind of made up some kind of easy questions. So on one sheet of paper, you're going to write the correctly spelled names or symbols of these elements. So 1 through 6, I gave you the symbol, so you need to tell me that, write the name. 7 through 12, I gave you the name, so you need to give me the symbol. So you'll do those 12 on one side of the paper, and then it says on a second sheet of paper, or you can just flip your page over and use the back if you don't want to use a separate paper. I just want them on 2 different sides because I want you to have to scan 2 pages and put them in one file. I want you to have to practice doing that. So on your second sheet of paper, you're going to work out the following problems and make sure you show work. Anytime we do math, you have to show work, even if it's basic math. And these are really basic. These 3 problems, I will tell you, I pulled them from a 3rd grade math worksheet. So if we have problems with these problems, I don't know, we're going to have a chat. So they should be pretty easy, okay, for you, and just to set up the work. And then once you've done both of those, then it says here you're going to use that app you just downloaded, the Adobe Scan, and you're going to use it, and you're going to scan both the pages, save it as one file, and then you can save it to your Google Drive, and then you can upload it to the file upload option from your Google Drive. You can upload that PDF. And then it tells you to title it. And we'll do this anytime we do the Adobe Scan. Always title it last name, first name, and then put an underscore and then the title of the assignment. So for this one, if I was doing this, it would be Thomas Jamie underscore and then Adobe Scan practice, because that's the title of this assignment. Okay. There is a rubric here, so make sure you look at the rubric. Make sure that you get all your points, like make sure that it's correctly uploaded as a PDF. Make sure it's only one file. It's not multiple files and you have all the pages. Make sure the pages are in the correct order. Make sure I can read it and it's got good lighting. Your handwriting's legible. Make sure they're scanned. All the pages are facing the same way. Because if I have to like tilt my head to read stuff, that slows me down when I'm grading. Okay. Organization of work. So if there's math problems, your work is shown, your numbers are in order. I'm not having to like search for your answers and work. And this doesn't really apply, but if we have things where you have to, write out a full answer, like an essay short answer, you use full sentences. And if you have to draw anything, then you have it drawn and labeled correctly. And then make sure you have your heading on the page and your assignment is titled that correct way that I told you about in the description up here. So that's how you get your 100 points on this one. And you can see we already had 15 people submit, probably most of them from second period. But if you guys have any issues with this, what I want you guys to do is I'm going to stay on the call until we go to lunch, which is in about 19 minutes. If you don't have any questions, go ahead and